43 fish, 60 minutes. One pack of instant ramen that cost 40 cents. That's not a typo. Stick around, I'm going to show you every single step. While guys at the lake are cracking open $12 jars of power bait and rigging up $40 soft plastics. One method, older than half the fishing regulations in this country, is still catching more fish than almost anything you can buy at a tackle shop. And it fits in your back pocket for less than $1. Drop a comment right now. What city or state are you watching from? I want to know where my people fish. It was a Saturday morning on the Tennessee River, just outside Decatur, Alabama. Two guys on the same stretch of bank, about 30 yards apart. Both after catfish. One had the green garlic power bait, the $11 jar. The other pulled a crumpled ramen pack from his back pocket. No big setup, no cooler full of fancy gear. He tore the pack open, crumbled half the brick into a sandwich bag with a splash of water and the flavor packet, worked it with his fingers for 2 minutes, and started rolling small dough balls right there on his knee. Just like that. By the end of the hour, the power bait guy had 5 fish. The ramen guy had 43. I've watched this exact thing play out more than once. On the Mississippi Delta in Arkansas, on farm ponds in rural Georgia. Different water, different fish, same outcome every time. Not luck, not coincidence, not a fluke. Old-timers along the Mississippi have been using versions of this for 50 years. Not ramen specifically, but homemade dough baits made from whatever starchy, smelly thing was in the kitchen. Cornmeal, leftover biscuit dough, chicken feed. One man's grandfather used to mash Wonder Bread with sardine oil and fill a cooler with channel cats before noon. That knowledge got passed down quietly, kept alive by the guys who fished to eat, not to post. Ramen is just the modern version. Cheaper, faster, and it works for a very specific reason. But before I show you what's really happening underwater, there's something worth knowing first. Tackle shops will never put this on their shelves because it costs 40 cents, and it flat out works. The pinned link below has the complete guide to catching more fish using these old-school methods the industry doesn't want you thinking about too hard. Go check it out. Now, back to the ramen. Instant ramen has MSG, monosodium glutamate, plus a concentrated mix of dehydrated proteins, sodium, and starch. To a catfish or carp, that combination is basically a dinner bell ringing 40 feet away. Works in muddy Mississippi Delta water and in clear Ozark streams alike, because the fish aren't looking for it. They're smelling it from a distance no power bait jar can match. And that's where the science gets genuinely wild. Because most fishermen have no idea what kind of sensory machine they're fishing against. A catfish nose is not like a human nose, not even in the same category. Where we detect a few hundred chemical compounds in a meal, a catfish processes thousands at concentrations that are completely invisible to us. Their lateral line also picks up micro-vibrations from dissolving particles drifting through the water column. Two separate systems, both locked onto your bait at the same time. MSG is a free-form amino acid. The second it hits water, it disperses fast and wide. It mimics the chemical signature of decaying organic matter. Exactly what catfish have spent millions of years evolving to hunt. You know that moment you walk past a BBQ joint in the summer and your brain just stops you? That involuntary pull toward the smell. You didn't decide to notice it? It just happened? That's what MSG does to a catfish underwater. Not a choice. Hardwired in. So your bait doesn't need to land on their nose. It just needs to be in the water. The scent cloud does the work. Here's exactly how to make it. You need 1 pack of instant ramen, Chicken or shrimp flavor works best, around 40 cents. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, maybe 10 cents worth. 1 tablespoon of cornmeal, literally pennies. And 3 to 4 drops of garlic oil, which you can grab at any grocery store for a couple bucks that'll last you a whole season. Total cost per batch, right around 60 cents. Step 1. Crush the ramen brick while it's still in the bag. Go hard. You want fine powder, not chunks. Step 2. Empty the crushed ramen and the full flavor packet into a bowl. Add the peanut butter and the cornmeal. Mix with a fork until it starts pulling together into a rough paste. Step 3. Add the garlic oil drops. Keep mixing until you get a firm dough, stiff enough that it doesn't stick to your fingers and holds its shape. If it's crumbling dry, add a tiny splash of cold water. Step 4. Roll into marble-sized balls. Cover the container and refrigerate for 30 minutes before you go. That ratio of ramen to cornmeal is one of the combinations in the guide, along with recipes dialed in for bass, carp, and bluegill specifically. Worth checking out when you want more options for different species. One thing nobody tells you: always use cold water when adjusting consistency. Room temperature breaks the binding down faster, and your bait slides right off the hook before a fish ever touches it. Keeps fresh in the fridge for 3 days. Freeze it, and you've got 2 weeks. Want to push this even further? 2 things make a real difference. A couple drops of vanilla extract. Sounds completely wrong, but the sweetness triggers curiosity in bass and carp. They investigate unfamiliar smells, and vanilla cuts through stained water differently than purely savory scents. A teaspoon of dried shrimp powder. You can find it at any Asian grocery store or on Amazon for next to nothing. Doubles the amino acid load in the water and works fast in cold temperatures when catfish slow down. Now here's the part the tackle industry would rather gloss right over. A jar of power bait is glutamates, starch, binding agent, and artificial scent. That's the formula. The $11 jar from Bass Pro and the 60-cent ball you just rolled on your knee are doing the exact same thing chemically underwater. The only real difference is the plastic jar, the logo, and the markup. They need you on the jar, on the brand, on the next seasonal new formula release. Because the moment you figure out you can make something just as effective for under $1, you stop being a repeat customer. You don't have to be. For application, press a marble-sized ball firmly onto a treble hook or a spring-coiled dough bait hook, the kind made to hold soft baits without a split shot. Best windows are early morning, 5 to 8 a.m., and again in the evening around 6 to 8 p.m., when catfish and carp are actively feeding along the bottom. Channel catfish, common carp, bluegill, and crappie hit this the hardest. Anything that navigates more by smell than by sight. One mistake to avoid: making the balls too large. Bigger doesn't mean more scent, it means slower release. Small balls disperse faster into the water column and get more bites in less time. Picture your next trip to the river. The guy next to you is popping the lid off his $12 power bait. You reach into your pocket, drop a 60-cent ramen dough ball 2 feet off the bottom, and wait. 20 minutes later, you're pulling in catfish number 10. He wanders over and asks what you're using. You say, "Something my grandfather showed me," and go back to fishing. Click now, get your access to Pesca de Alto Nivel, and let these strategies start transforming your next fishing trips. The link is in the first pinned comment. When you get back from the water using what you learned, come back here and comment "Caught more." That's your commitment to your evolution as a fisherman. And it might be exactly the step that separates the stories you hear from the stories you're going to start telling. The guys who figured this out Didn't read it in a magazine or buy it at a store. They worked it out over decades on the water, passed it down, and kept it close. The industry spent years replacing that knowledge with products. You just got it back for 40 cents. Subscribe and hit the bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next.